Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
An 18th NBA title is in sight for the Boston Celtics, the team advancing to their second NBA Finals in the past 3 years after completing a series sweep of the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. An NBA title would cap a successful season for co-owner Steve Pagliuca, who just last week saw his Italian football side, Atalanta, win the Europa League. Steve, it's wonderful to catch up with you, sir. We've been talking offline, I know. I was so happy for you. Congratulations to you and the team. I want to begin with Atalanta. And I want to go through what this means to you. They are the underdogs of Bergamo, overshadowed by their glamorous counterparts of Inter and Milan out of Milan. How important was that for you, for that side, for the history of that club?
Well, I think it was huge. Atalanta has not won the Europa Cup in 100 years. And the city of Bergamo is just ecstatic right now. When the team came back from the game, there's a nice shot of the fans in the stands. There was 10,000 folks from Bergamo there, and when they came back, they couldn't even get out of the airport. It was mobbed, and then they took a bus to the practice facility, and that was also mobbed at the field. And so they're feeling great. There's Carnesecchi, our goalie, with the medal, and it was just a wonderful time. That's a big cup, by the way. The two NBA championships would fit inside that cup.
Steve, your approach to this club and the way this business has been run should be a case study in a lot of schools. I just want to go through some of that so our audience really understands the background here. You've taken a chance on a lot of players that some clubs have left behind, including my own club, Milan, in the likes of CDK. You picked up Scamacca, Lookman too. You've identified talent, the likes of Coop Miners. This hasn't happened once. It's not happened twice. It's happened repeatedly. It's not an accident, Steve. Where does that come from?
I got a lot of credit to Luca Percassi and the Italian team we have on the field there. They've done a fantastic job evaluating talent, and really the mainstay of Atalanta is their academy. They've invested heavily in the academy in the last 15 years, and that's paid a lot of dividends. Scalvini's a 21-year-old defenseman that starts, the youngest one in the entire Serie A, and several others like that. And then I think really taking players and putting them into a team-oriented system like the Celtics and having them pass the ball and putting them in the right spot. So the coaching staff, Luca Percassi, the whole organization gets credit for that. And, it's been wonderful to watch. It also helped that we took a risk on Rasmus Højlund 2 years ago. And he's a very young player. I met him in Sturm Graz, Austria, team that he played for, and he was 18. And we paid, I think, a record sum for one of the record sums for an 18-year-old that time, $20 million. And Manchester United came knocking the door after the season, or we hated to lose them, but they paid $85 million. Then we invested in Scamacca and several other players to improve the squad. And it's been a magical season.
Steve, could we talk a little bit about that as well, the difference between Atalanta and the Celtics? When you have a star like Højlund and you get Manchester United coming in with massive money, how difficult it is to retain that talent at a club like Atalanta, and whether that is still the future. Is that inevitable, whether you're going to have to sell some of these stars again to continuously reinvent yourself, reinvent the club going forward?
It's really not that different than the NBA. Is when you win a championship, everybody wants your players. And so we think we can continue to prosper at Atalanta with a mix of young players and a mix of players that are sold because they have great opportunities. I think we'll change that a bit. We're playing European football. Before that win, we qualified for the Champions League, and that win gives you a slot in the Champions League as well. So that's going to be really helpful in our recruitment of players to improve the team further.
Steve, to really put you on the spot, has it been harder to run a football club or a basketball team?
They both have similar challenges. It's all about getting and retaining top talent and keeping them motivated and trying to do everything that you can to make their lives easy so they go out on the pitch or go out on the court and play hard. And we try to do that in both organizations. It's very similar. Atalanta is kind of the can-do team with a great culture in Italy. It's the favorite team of many in Bergamo and northern Milan, but also is a favorite. It's probably everybody's second favorite team in Italy. I just came back from Rome. And when we went in a hotel room, my wife and I found a large cake with an Atalanta symbol on it. So it's definitely Atalanta fever in Italy right now.
Steve, you are living pretty much everybody's dream, so congratulations for winning life. You have definitely done it. There is this idea, especially as you have two really successful teams, Celtics, heading to their NBA Finals, the second Finals appearance in 3 seasons. How do you monetize this? And I know that that's not the reason why you do this. You're in this for the love of the sport and all the passion. Is it going direct to the distributors? Do you find it actually more compelling right now because you have the actual intellectual property in a way that has changed with new technological advancements?
Absolutely. When we purchased the Celtics back in 2003, there was no Facebook or minimal social media, almost nothing. Maybe email was the technology of the day. Now what we have is fans were counted back then in the hundreds of thousands. Now they're counted in the millions and even possibly 500 million, a billion for global soccer teams. And also the NBA, which is prospering in Europe and China and all over the world. So the landscape's really changed. These teams have become, teams of the world, and the Boston Celtics certainly have that reputation. It's in terms of monetization, it's just a virtuous circle. If you get more popular, you get great players. You get more great players. You get more fans, and it's a great place to be right now with being in the finals a couple years in a row.
On that point, though, Steve, when you get a trophy, where does it immediately start to translate into money? Is it immediately in merchandise, ticket sales?
The main area quickly translates into a sponsorship. So for the Celtics, just the building the brand and having a championship team, gets us more sponsorship income. When we bought the club, the sponsorship income was de minimis, and now it's in the tens of millions and approaching hundreds of millions. Brands want to be associated with a brand like the Celtics and Atalanta as well. Getting in the Champions League gets Atalanta more eyeballs. So having that championship culture and the brand and the reputation, that's what does it for the long term and creates value in the short term.
You went through what makes Atalanta so special and how you've really transformed that team. What about the Celtics? They're always winning. Why are they so good?
Well, that's one of the better questions I've ever had, I guess. I think they're good because we've had an incredible management team led by Whit Grossbeck for 20 years now. Rich Gotham, our president. It started out with Danny Ainge and now Brad Stevens in the basketball operation, a great coach. They all work together as a team and have been very smart in player trading and acquisitions. Same story in Atalanta. So it's all about trying to get the top talent on the field and doing, in both organizations, we believe in doing more work and exploring, using statistics, using scouts to see players 20 or 30 or 40 times, following players from when they're 8 years old into high school and college. And so that work ethic and kind of a will to win championships pervades each organization. And we've never been happier with those folks. And that's the great thing to see in both these situations. People were crying on the pitch at Atalanta after that victory. And last night in Indiana, which is a great basketball town, there was a huge celebration after that victory. And I'm just so happy for those players who worked so hard. It's just really hard to win championships. The NBA has had different champions the last 5 years. Same thing in Europe. It's just hard to get up every night and beat these great teams and overcome injuries. So I'm just pinching myself, and hopefully the dream will continue next week.
Steve, it sounded like you are a sabermetrics believer there for a second, so that seems to be part of what's going on. I will just say, right now, you must be on such a high. I probably haven't slept in a couple of weeks. There is this question of what's next in terms of, are you still interested in buying other teams? Is there still value out there? Or do you think that basically things have been bid up to such a degree, given all of the interest, that pretty much the opportunities aren't there anymore?
Well, when we bought the Celtics in 2003, the headline was venture capitalists pay record price for a team that was $360 million, and now the values are counted in the four billions. So that's been a question asked every single year. I think the fact that this technology has changed, that sports are now global, in the fight for eyeballs between the new media, such as Facebook and Apple and old media, the networks, continues. And everyone wants properties that get eyeballs, and the properties that get eyeballs are sports properties. So I think there's still room to go up.
Steve, before we go, we've got to talk about a loss to the basketball world over the weekend. Bill Walton, we'd love a final word from you on his legacy.
Yeah, I was devastated last night. I'm so glad we won that game. I felt like Bill was looking down on it. I was very close to Bill in the 20-year run we had here, and his son Nate worked for us at the Celtics. And I just texted Bill 2 weeks ago. He sent me a nice. His son sent me a nice message about the winning the Europa Cup. He was watching that. He was an avid sports fan, an avid Celtics fan, and everywhere he went, he proselytized what a great experience it was to be a Celtic and be a champion. So the world and the NBA has had a major loss in Bill Russell, in Bill Walton, and 2 years before Bill Russell, two of the most iconic centers in the game. And we're going to really miss Bill, and hopefully our players will take extra heart into the games because of remembering Bill.
Steve, we appreciate you, sir. Let's catch up soon. Congratulations for all your hard work and success. Boston Celtics co-owner Steve Pagliuca.